Beaver County Radio's news source. 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect cloudy skies today with some sunshine later on. We'll reach a high of about 57 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after this look at news. A shooting that took place in Aliquippa yesterday evening is under investigation. Beaver County radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that the shooting happened in the area of 6:30 p.m. in Linmar Terrace. Police say one person was shot in the leg, but no further details were given. Beginning March 28th, the Hopewell Community Park Dog Park will be closed for a period of 60 days or more. The reason given behind the closure is essential construction work taking place in and around the dog park area parking lot. Tree removal, grass regrowth, Laird Road culvert replacement are the primary projects taking place. The park says that the goal is to create a safer and more beautiful space for everyone to enjoy. Congress members Chris DeLuzio and Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez introduced the Shrinkflation Prevention Act. The legislation would prohibit corporations from deceptively decreasing the sizes of their products without lowering the price. Without advertised changes, customers are often unaware when they receive less for what they spend. In practice, shrinkflation might mean more air in a bag of chips, fewer sheets on a roll of paper towels, or a divot in the bottom of a jar of peanut butter. Shrinkflation cuts down on the purchasing power of working families, and it can add up across multiple items in a shopping trip. The act would direct the FTC to establish regulations to establish shrinkflation as an unfair or deceptive act or practice and authorize the FTC and state attorney generals to pursue civil actions against corporations who engage in it. Pennsylvania's wild trout streams are getting some much-needed attention, and outdoor enthusiasts across the state can voice their views on safeguarding these fisheries. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
The Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission has collected data on 24 proposed wild trout streams, recommending they receive official designation to preserve their exceptional trout habitats. Nathan Walters with the commission says protecting streams supports healthy, self-sustaining wild trout populations, which in turn is vital for water quality.
It's important to protect them from any kind of human impacts that can further degrade these streams. Again, it's important to protect these streams for the water quality and habitat protection standpoint, whether it's for in-stream or the wetlands surrounding these streams.
Walters says all Pennsylvania residents can submit public comments about the wild trout streams designation online. Pennsylvania has over 80,000 miles of streams and rivers, most of which support fishing, kayaking, and boating activities.
The collision of 3 Norfolk Southern trains in Pennsylvania earlier this month highlights the shortcomings of the automated braking system that was created to prevent such crashes. That's because none of the circumstances the National Transportation Safety Board described Tuesday in its preliminary report on the March 2nd derailment would have triggered the automated positive train control system to stop the trains. Railroad safety expert Chris Barkin said the system that was created after a deadly 2008 collision in California isn't designed to stop trains in these circumstances. The eastbound train that smashed into a stopped train had passed a restricted speed signal, but without a stop signal, the braking system wouldn't have been triggered.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly cloudy skies today will reach a high near 56. Clouds tonight will drop down to a low of just about 33. Sunshine tomorrow with a high of 52. Cloudy skies Thursday night will drop down to a low of 32. And sunshine on Friday with a high near 54. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, March the 27th of 2024, at 10 after 9, we've got a temperature of 50 degrees with cloudy skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Now, it's time to talk on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 FM, and beavercountyradio.com. And now, here is the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
AM 14. Yeah, you got to let Donnie Iris run a little bit longer. It's for a lot of people, it's a holiday weekend. Welcome. It is Teleforum. Second hour and third hour, we're going to scream about things. First hour, we're going to talk about positive things. With me for the first hour, Jeff Flug and Mike Price and Hannah Ward. We're talking about the Conservation District. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
You good? Okay. I'm going to ask specific questions. I know there are three things that you want to talk about, but I'm going to ask some general stuff first. Mm-hmm. I'll start with you, Jeff. How did you get involved in the Conservation District?
So back in 2020, May, I believe it was, I was hired as the district manager there.
Mm-hmm.
Really where my background came from, I've been farming since birth, sixth-generation farmer. So,
wow.
So
what do you farm?
Right now it's crops and dairy beef and dairy replacement heifers.
Okay.
So the farm's in Franklin Township. It's still in Beaver County. So, but that gave me my grassroots education, I'll say, to deal with and to have a passion for conservation. And it just so happened manager position was open, and I applied and was lucky enough to get the job.
How much do farmers know about the planet that somebody like me doesn't know? Especially sixth generation.
So technology is always changing. So if any farmer says, I know everything, that's a little bit BS. Things are always changing. There's always learning to do. And I think every farmer will also admit that there's always learning to do. And every farm is different. Every site is different. Every soil type is different. And a lot of knowing to be a productive farmer is also knowing and learning from your experiences. And unfortunately in farming, all those experience takes a year to get one test point or data point.
It takes a season.
Yes.
Okay.
To get that. And that's really where the experience comes into it, as well as just the book smarts of it.
All right. Mike Price is the board chairman. Mike, how did you get involved?
I got involved when the new airport was built in Pittsburgh.
All right.
Our compound, which was 80 acres in size, was what we call a mitigated wetlands. The airport authority had to put in that wetland site because wetlands were destroyed when they built a new airport.
Did they destroy 80 acres? Is that where the 80 acres reclaimed?
No, sir. No. Pennsylvania regulation is for every acre they destroy, they have to mitigate 3 acres.
Okay.
In exchange for that. And when I went down and I saw the wetlands, I thought it'd make an excellent education center.
What was your background before?
My background was in electronics and computers.
All right.
And I've always been interested in conservation in general. And so I joined the board in 1996, I do believe, on the Conservation District. And we started a plan to put in an education center down there. And then when the district went what I call private, we decided to move our offices out there already with the plan to extend the education center into office building space to include that. So I've been with the district now 20-some years. And I've
coming
seen
up on 30, yeah.
Just about, yeah. Time gets away from you, you know. But I'm proud of the work that was done. I'm proud of the district and what we've done over the years for Beaver County.
Going back to the beginning, 1996, if somebody would have said X amount's going to get done by the year 2024, Has enough gotten done? Do you feel like we're making progress?
Oh,
Because
yes.
one of the beauties of Western PA, and I didn't know it until I moved here in '96,
Right.
the woodlands and the marshlands, and where I came from didn't have any of that. It was wonderful.
Right. Well, we've done more than basically what I expected to be done.
Mm-hmm.
In the time we've been there. It's grown exponentially. We now educate school students there at the education center, free of charge to the schools. The only thing they have to provide is busing to and from the location.
Mm-hmm.
I feel we've grown quite a bit from this beginning.
Jeff Lug is my guest, and Mike Price is my guest, and Hannah Ward, the assistant manager, is also here. This is being live Facebook streamed, talking to people with the Beaver County Conservation District. Hannah, what drew you to this?
So I started at the district in 2018, pretty much right out of college. I've always been interested in the outdoors and conservation and things like that, so kind of just got drawn to the position. I'm originally from Beaver County, so it was nice to come back home and
Where'd you go
find
to
a
school?
position here. I went to New Brighton.
No, I mean,
College,
yeah.
West Virginia University.
You went to WVU?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
came back home?
Yep.
Was there a consideration to use WVU as a jumping off point to somewhere else? What made you come back?
So I originally, when I was in college, I did have plans to move away from Beaver County, but whenever that became more of a reality and it started becoming where I could move further away, my whole family's here and everything, so family is really what drew me back to the area, to be around family, and now my husband and I live here and we love it, so.
That's the best news I've heard in a while, because you guys know this. We hear about people moving away and nobody coming back, and that's absolutely wonderful. I know that there are 3 different things that you want to talk about. Jeff, what's the first one?
So the first one I think we need to address or talk about is our Envirothon, because it's first on our schedule in April. April is one of the busier months for the Conservation District. We have typically always 3 events. Again, the first one being Envirothon. Hannah has most of that information, as she has actually organized that event for the last 4 years, maybe 5. We do have a new coordinator that couldn't join us today, but Hannah has all the data for us.
All right, Hannah, what is Envirothon?
So the Envirothon, it's Pennsylvania statewide. There's also a national program, but for the county level Envirothon, we do a high school Envirothon and a middle school Envirothon, and different school districts send teams to the county level Envirothon where they compete, and throughout the school year, in preparation for the Envirothon, they learn about forestry, wildlife, fisheries. There's always a current issue.
What's the current
soils. Do you know the current issue this year?
All of those things sound like they could be
I'm drawing a
current
blank
issues.
right now. I did
That's
know.
okay.
I'm sorry. I am drawing a blank right now.
The current issue is normally just about something more current that's happening. It's
Okay.
been about climate change before. It's been about water before. So they change. That's the one that changes every year, and the other ones stay the same every year. And then so they come to the county level Envirothon, and the high school students compete, and the middle school is separate. Whoever wins our county level Envirothon for high school moves on to the state competition. Middle school does not have a state level competition. We just do that as a courtesy to the middle school students so that they can get interested in it, so that when they're in high school they want to participate again.
Those are the kids that, when there is a state competition, they're lining up again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If people want information on this, is there a website, before I forget to ask
Yeah.
you, how do people look up what we're talking about?
So we have information about our Envirothon on our website, which is beavercountyconservationdistrict.org. And then there's information about the state level Envirothon on, I believe it's just, if you look up PA Envirothon, it'll take you directly to their website. And there should also be information about the national competition on there as well.
Mike, I want to ask you about Hannah. How many young people are connecting with the work that you've been doing for the last almost 30 years?
We typically have, how many students do we have?
We have
last
about
year?
17
All right.
teams, so
like 180.
I want to say it's
think, last
180
year.
to 200, roughly there. I mean, it is
Participants
it is
at the
slowly
Envirothon.
growing. At least over the few years that I've been there, it is slowly growing. So our goal is within the next 3 years to be up to 250 to 300 students.
Mike Price is the board chairman. The manager is Jeff Flug, and the assistant manager is Hannah Ward. It's the Beaver County Conservation District. Mike, are young people coming in, or is Hannah more of an aberration
No, we have young people coming in.
into your organization?
Yep.
Yeah?
I'm surprised at the amount of people that are coming in. We have volunteers that come in from time to time, and we have interns that come in and study with us. We do have internship programs available.
What high, or is it coming out of high schools or grade schools or both? Or if somebody wanted to get their kid in an internship, what are the criteria?
Most of the interns I've seen lately were out of college.
Okay.
Yeah, college internships. But we do have a few that are for high school students that can come in to get them indoctrinated. I like to call it indoctrinated.
And we're all indoctrinated in some form or another. What's part of the indoctrination?
Showing them what the conservation district's about, the programs that we provide, and helping them learn about the programs, and basically learn about conservation and why it's important in today's environment.
How many programs are offered?
We have currently, I do believe 7.
7?
different- Yes.
Do you guys, as an organization, do you feel like you're underknown? Because as far as I'm concerned, you're doing wonderful work.
You'd be surprised the number of people that don't even know about the conservation district in Beaver County alone.
Exactly.
Yes, we are underknown. I don't know if it's because of the location of where we are located, or we just haven't advertised enough.
Where are you located?
We're located in Independence Township right now. But the reason I think a lot of people don't know about us is because of advertising more than anything, I do believe.
Is it?
Now, a lot of people did know us for a long time. We did the Maple Syrup Festival down at Brady's Run Park.
When the three of you were coming in, that was getting talked about. So that's what you're connected to, but you're not connected to that anymore.
No, sir, we're not.
Okay.
It got to be a little bit too big for our staff to handle.
All right.
At the end of that, when we stopped it, just before the COVID hit, we stopped that program. It got to be a very expensive proposition, one that our budget couldn't handle any longer. And we really didn't have enough people to help us put on that program. It took approximately 360 volunteers to put on the Maple Syrup Festival.
All day?
And that was just,
Yeah.
yes, all day for 2 days.
All day for 2 days from
Yes,
sun
sir.
up to dark. You're exactly right.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned the budget. I'm curious, what is the annual budget for the Conservation District?
Our annual budget, I do believe, is what, Jeff, $1.5 million?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that involves everything. So our budget is approved by the State Conservation Commission and by the Department of Environmental Protection. So we do rely on grants, donations. We get a great support from our county commissioners as part of the Operation Subsidy. We do get what's called CDFAP funds for running the Chapter 102, 105 programs for the Department of Environmental Protection. But most of that money goes to projects. So we've mentioned multiple programs that the district has. Some of those are dirt road and gravel, what's called ACAP for agriculture. We're actually putting best management practices in Beaver County where farmers need it, where roads need it, municipalities need it. And so where that budget sounds, for a smaller organization, sizable, most of that is actually going into properties, to stream bank stabilizations, those kind of things in Beaver County, and not actually operational expenses.
Do you get asked for more help than you can provide?
Yes, we do have to at times, unfortunately, say we just don't have the staff to go that realm. We actually was awarded several Growing Greener grants last year. We did something different last year that we haven't done for over a decade, to my knowledge, and that's apply for Growing Greener grants for agricultural improvements for some farms. We were awarded every one of them, and right now we have at least 6 to 7 possible applications that we could provide. We had to rank them and just say, okay, we're only applying for 4, because if we are awarded all that grant money, I don't have the staff to actually help assist the landowners to get them into reality.
So if you got the money to do it, you still wouldn't have enough people to
Correct.
execute that plan?
Correct. The staff is the most important thing to the conservation district, but it's also the hardest to get funding for.
That was my next question. Can you not get a grant to build up your staff?
It's very difficult.
Why is it tougher?
I'm sorry?
Why is it more difficult?
Everybody wants to see the actual physical results. Like, hey, I want this road and I want it fixed that it's going to be easily to maintain for the next decade. I see something on black and white. It's harder for them to see, hey, it took this person
You can't send them a staff photo?
Oh, we have staff photos, but that's why you're better off turning the camera off on me and putting it over that way.
I got you.
So that way we get more money. But yeah, unfortunately, even though we're not a nonprofit per se, we do operate that. There is no profit at the end of the year. I mean, everything that comes in, we utilize. If there is money left over, it's just because a project is in the middle of that calendar year, and final payments going into the next year. It's one of those kind of deals. So we're not a nonprofit organization, but at the same sense, how do I want to put this? All money goes back into the natural resources of Beaver County, one way or the other.
All right, Jeff Flug is the manager. Board Chairman Mike Price is here. Assistant Manager Hannah Ward is here. We're talking with the Beaver County Conservation District, and we'll continue to do so after news on Teleforum on Beaver County Radio.
Can the card you carry really change your life? It can when it's a low-rate Freedom United Federal Credit Union fixed-rate Visa card. This is Pat Travail, and I'm the lady in the loan department with the big scissors. No, you silly. I'm not doing haircuts, but I'm going to use those shears to cut up those nasty high-rate store charge cards that you're carrying around. Why, you ask? Because you won't be needing those cards anymore after you take advantage of Freedom United's low 6.99% fixed-rate balance transfer special. Good for a limited time on new money transfers to a Freedom United Visa card with approved credit. Potential money saved on lower monthly payments really can be life-changing. So can a haircut, for that matter. But we'll worry about that later. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union, where the interest is in you. Member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
The Lenten season has arrived, and besides celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ, that means fish fry season in Beaver County. Go online to beavercountyradio.com and click on the Fish Fry Guide logo for a listing of fish fries in the area during Lent. If your group is having a fish fry, you can submit it by emailing bcr@beavercountyradio.com. The Beaver County Radio Fish Fry Guide is being brought to you by Our Lady of the Valley Parish Fish Fries, D&G Rentals, Town Square Restaurant, PJ's Deli and Catering, RS Belco, Gosnell's Auto Repair Service, and Beaver County Radio.
This is a test of the emergency alert system originating from WBVP. The broadcasters and cable operators of the area, in voluntary cooperation with the Federal Communications Commission and other agencies, have developed this system to keep you informed in the event of an emergency. This is only a test. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been given emergency information or instructions. This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Brian is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Brian will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
Do you remember Thanksgiving and Christmas, how scrumptious your turkey from Jones Turkey Farm was? Why not get one now? They've got chickens and turkeys for $2.50 a pound. Turkey breast just $3.50 a pound. Get it fresh or get it frozen. Just get it. They're all natural, free-roaming, preservative-free, and handled with extreme care. Order now on their fantastic website store, jonesturkeyfarm.com, or call 352-2450 for the tastiest turkey in Western Pennsylvania. It's the Jones Turkey Farm in Cabot. Quite simply, the best.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMVA, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com. Here's Curtis Walsh.
Good morning. We can expect cloudy skies today with a high of around 57 degrees. We'll have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. A shooting took place in Aliquippa yesterday evening and is under investigation by the Pennsylvania State Police. Beaver County radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that the shooting happened in Lindmar Terrace around 6:30 p.m. Police say one person was shot in the leg, but no further details were given. Beginning March 28th, the Hopewell Community Park Dog Park will be closed for a period of 60 days or more. The reason given behind the closure is essential construction work taking place in and around the dog park area parking lot. Tree removal, grass regrowth, and a Laird Road culvert replacement are taking place. The park says that the goal is to create a safer and more beautiful space for everyone to enjoy. Congress members Krista Luzio and Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez introduced the Shrinkflation Prevention Act. The legislation would prohibit corporations from deceptively decreasing the sizes of their products without lowering the price. Without advertised changes, customers are often unaware when they receive less for what they spend. In practice, shrinkflation might mean more air in a bag of chips, fewer sheets on a roll of paper towels, or a divot in the bottom of a jar of peanut butter. Shrinkflation cuts down on the purchasing power of working families, and it can add up across multiple items in a shopping trip. The act would direct the FTC to establish regulations to establish shrinkflation as an unfair or deceptive act or practice, and authorize the FTC and state attorneys general to pursue civil actions against corporations who engage in it. The collision of 3 Norfolk Southern trains in Pennsylvania early this month highlights the shortcomings of the automated braking system that was created to prevent such crashes. That's because none of the circumstances the National Transportation Safety Board described Tuesday in its preliminary report on the March 2nd derailment would have triggered the automated positive train control system to stop the trains. Railroad safety expert Chris Barkin said the system that was created after a deadly 2008 collision in California isn't designed to stop trains in these circumstances. The eastbound train that smashed into a stopped train had passed a restricted speed signal, but without a stop signal, the braking system wouldn't have been triggered. Pennsylvania's wild trout streams are getting some much-needed attention, and outdoor enthusiasts across the state can voice their views on safeguarding these fisheries. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
The Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission has collected data on 24 proposed wild trout streams, recommending they receive official designation to preserve their exceptional trout habitats. Nathan Walters with the commission says protecting streams supports healthy, self-sustaining wild trout populations, which in turn is vital for water quality.
It's important to protect them from any kind of human impacts that can further degrade these streams. Again, it's important to protect these streams for the water quality and habitat protection standpoint, whether it's for in-stream or the wetlands surrounding these streams.
Walter says all Pennsylvania residents can submit public comments about the wild trout streams designation online. Pennsylvania has over 80,000 miles of streams and rivers, most of which support fishing, kayaking, and boating activities.
U.S. Senators Bob Casey, chairman of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Subcommittee on Children and Families, along with Roger Wicker, introduced the Community Training, Education, and Access for Medical Students Act, also known as TEAMS, to increase training opportunities for medical students in rural, underserved communities. The Community TEAMS Act would create a nationwide grant program for medical schools and community-based clinics to fund training opportunities in underserved communities for medical students, increasing hands-on experience with unique health challenges facing such Pennsylvania communities, and encouraging medical students to serve there after graduation.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Mostly cloudy skies today will reach a high near 56. Clouds tonight will drop down to a low of just about 33. Sunshine tomorrow with a high of 52. Cloudy skies Thursday night will drop down to a low of 32. And sunshine on Friday with a high near 54. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, March the 27th of 2024, at 37 after 9, we've got a temperature of 51 degrees with cloudy skies in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Curtis Walsh on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum, 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
If you do have questions for the Conservation District, I describe it, it's like you guys are one single entity. If you do have questions for Jeff or for Mike or for Hannah, that's wonderful. You can call. I've got plenty of questions. First half hour, talked to Jeff Flug. He's the manager. And Mike Price is the board chairman, and Hannah Ward is the assistant manager of the Beaver County Conservation District. And we talked about one of the events, but you've got more events than that. And Hannah, you and I were talking off air. You want to tell people about the tire thing? Because I live in Ambridge, and I live in an okay neighborhood. I still see tires leaned up against the sides of people's houses, former tires. How are you going to help them get rid of that?
So our mosquito vector disease program hosts a annual tire collection, and so residents bring their tires to the district. It's $2.50 per tire. Our grant pays for some of the cost, and the tires go.
They charged me more than I just got 2 new tires. I think they charged me $7 to get rid of them.
Yep.
Okay, so less than half.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
And then they go to, what is the Liberty Tire? Comes and picks them up, and the tires are recycled into mulch and things like that. So we host this to reduce mosquito habitat, because tires that hold water in yards or leaned up against guardrails and things like that
and they do.
are a great place for mosquito habitat. So doing this reduces mosquito habitat while providing a service to Beaver County residents.
How long has the Conservation District been doing this?
This is our second year?
Tires?
Third year.
This is
okay.
our third tire collection. In 2021, I believe we started on our own. And was able to, with assistance with DEP, get grant money to cover this. Because as Hannah said, DEP covers actually most of the cost. That $2.50 is only 25% of the total cost for these tires to be fully recycled. So the rest is grant money that we got from the department, again through the vector-borne control program, strictly for habitat control of mosquitoes.
Is there any way to quantify how much better we're doing since we've been collecting tires? Mosquitoes versus fewer mosquitoes?
Yes.
Annoyance factor going down?
So annoyance factors are going down. We are seeing some improvements. The biggest improvement also is the habitat reduction, but also just the pollution event from the tires being in the soil and those kind of things. Because over the last 3 years, we've collected at least 1,000 tires each year. So last year, I think we were even up to 1,600, if I remember right. So with this one, we're easily going to be around the 4,500 to 5,000 tire collection since we've started. So that's a lot of tires if you really think about that. But yeah, it absolutely lowers the annoyance of the mosquitoes. How many times? Because part of our vector control is also trapping for monitoring throughout Beaver County, but also if need be to do pesticide treatments if we need to knock a population down.
You're talking about driving a spray?
Yes, we have a spray truck. We don't use it unless we see that there's been positive results and it's been approved by the Department of Environmental Protection as well. But that's our last resort. And knock on wood, over the last 4 years, only 2 of those years did we have to actually initialize spraying in Beaver County.
You talked about the pollution of the tires in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, is society getting better at understanding that everything's connected and interrelated, and just sitting somewhere will have an effect on something else? And you've done this for a little bit. Are we getting at least more aware of issues?
I think they are.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. You're seeing more people being aware of recycling than they used to be. You see people picking up cans alongside the roads. The roads are being cleaned up instead of looking like trash bins, as as we've all seen in the past. But yes, people are more aware of what recycling is and how much the pollution affects the environment. You've seen a lot of the grocery stores leaving the plastic bags and going back to paper.
The rule in Pittsburgh, sure.
Because if you look at our streams after a flood event, the trees are just polluted with plastic bags hanging in the trees all over the place. We used to kayak Raccoon Creek.
Yeah.
And you could see them all over the place. There was no place on Raccoon Creek that you could go that you didn't see plastic bags either hanging in the trees or stuck in the mud on the ground. So a lot of people are more aware of it.
Will we ever get to the point, because there's always pushback, and I'm sure you know the no plastic bags rule that got implemented. There was immediate pushback. How do you address somebody that's already decided, no, you're wrong?
In my estimation, you'll never convince everybody.
Okay.
You know, you're always going to have those few people that are dead set against getting rid of anything that's a pollutant in our environment.
Why do you think that is? That seems a ridiculous thing to be dead set against. Are they dead set against caring about the environment? Or are they dead set against somebody telling them how they should go about their day?
I think it's more somebody telling them what they need to do or what they don't need to do.
Okay.
More than anything. And some people don't care about the environment. I mean, you've seen that where they dump trash over the hill alongside the roads, you know.
Usually a refrigerator or an air conditioner.
Yes, or old televisions.
Or old electronics.
Yes, because we don't have a lot of places to recycle that kind of stuff. And recycling televisions and that kind of stuff is expensive. So people figure, well, if I dump it over the hill, out of sight, out of mind, it's not in my yard anymore, who cares?
How do you school people up on that? Is it possible?
Just
because all three of you have developed or devoted part of your life to this.
Right.
How frustrating is it for you driving down the road and seeing that?
Very.
Is it?
I'll be honest with you.
Still?
Yes.
Good.
Still. I think just more education and outreach to the public on what they're doing to the environment when they do that, what the causes are, what the effects are, you know, and basically trying to educate them is the only way I see to change their mindset. I know the schools are doing a lot as far as recycling programs with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are being educated in the effects of pollution on our environment. So you're seeing a lot more of that in the schools. And hopefully that will equate to, when they become adults, that'll equate to their better understanding of environmental pollution and help control it more.
Mike Price is the board chairman. Jeff Flug is the manager. And Hannah, the assistant manager, Hannah Ward, I want to ask you, do you believe the younger generation is more aware, in tune, and considerate of the environment than somebody in my generation?
I do believe that, just because there is more education on it now and there's a better understanding of the impacts that it has had for a long time, over many years. We can now see the impacts that pollution from many years ago had on our generation and further generations. So I hope that it'll continue to improve throughout the years.
All right, and you've got one more event. When I was a kid, we did this Arbor Day. We would go and plant a tree. Mm-hmm. Talk about the tree planting event, because that's That's where our air comes from, and most people don't realize that. Jeff, you want to talk about that?
Yes, the tree sale is April 27th. 27th is the actual pickup day. So fortunately, we did have to have orders already into the district. However, we did order some extra to have what we call overstock. So there is still possibilities. If anybody did not place an order that wants to place an order, we may be able to still satisfy those orders. But under conservation law, districts are not allowed to charge taxes, going back to the budget a little bit. We are allowed to charge some fees, but really the tree sale, where it also supports the environment, supports our mission, also is a fundraising tool for the district to help support operational expenses. Typically, in this case, any proceeds made helps us support our 80-acre wetland property that we leave open to the public, because it is an environmental education center. But we have a little over a mile worth of walking trails around the wetland and stuff that's open to dog walkers and hunters and horseback riders and those kind of things. But the tree sale is, again, one of those avenues just to bring in some extra income for us to allow that resource in Beaver County.
If somebody wants, how does it work? I want to buy a tree, and you have a tree for me. How much is it, and what do I do at that point? Pick it up and plant it where I want?
Yeah, I mean, they're fully responsible for the planting of it. They would pick it up at the Conservation District on that day.
What kind of tree?
So we offer various different trees, anything from white pines to some fruit trees. Actually, Hannah has the exact list in front if you just want to.
I want my tree menu, absolutely. What can I get?
So we had this year, we have balsam fir, white spruce, eastern white pine, black elderberry, American plum, eastern redbud, white flowering dogwood. We also sell a wildflower seed mix. We sell compost. We sell hardy evergreen azaleas, dwarf rhododendrons, 2 different kinds of apple trees, and 2 different kinds of cherry trees. And like Jeff said, we are out of some of this already. We're out of most of the fruit trees that we sell, the azaleas, rhododendrons, but we do have a lot of overstock that people can come purchase. And some of our trees, the smaller trees like the native trees, balsam fir, white spruce, eastern white pine, are sold in bundles of 5. And then
cool.
Yeah, and then the fruit trees are sold individually.
Elderberry go quick, I bet, for the winemakers maybe?
Yeah, we're sold out of elderberry, I believe. So.
Okay. I heard elderberry. I flashed back to mason jars.
So I would like to add, in, when she mentioned compost, that compost is actually donated to the district by Beaver County Sustainability and Waste.
And that's not cheap. You would think, well, it's compost. It's not nothing.
Right. It's not nothing. But again, they support us with this fundraiser. And going back a little bit to your conversation with Mike and how do we sort of clean up the environment, it is education. It is also teamwork of all the organizations working well together. And I just want to highlight that because I believe we have a great network inside Beaver County as far as with the commissioners, Department of Public Works, Beaver County Sustainability and Waste. We all work very well together, support each other, and that to me is really how we're going to continue to clean up and make Beaver County as environmentally sensitive as possible.
How difficult is it to balance between conservation and new industry coming to Beaver County? Because that's getting talked about and people want that, and I understand that, but doesn't have to go against what you're trying to do, but perception, it can.
Perception is it can. I hate to give somewhat of a punt answer here, but it is somewhat of a punt answer.
That's what I do every day, Jeff. Don't worry about it.
The nice thing is with the Conservation District is we are not in a position of generating policy. We are delegated our powers by the Department of Environmental Protection or by the State Conservation Commission. They generate the policies. It is our job just to help to enforce those on a voluntary basis. So and I'm also chairman for the Beaver County Ag Land Preservation Board. So I'm looking at how do I preserve farms, but I don't have the policy or the power to make policy to say, hey, this farm needs to be preserved, and this is why. That has to come from those delegating agencies, and really even from the legislators to say how they want to change the laws, so, if that makes sense.
How often is that a benefit and how often is that a liability? to, and I'll use your word, to punt it, to say that we can't do anything about that until other people do something about it?
Unfortunately, that can be on a daily basis.
It can be a good thing, or it can be a bad thing.
Yep. Yes. And again, it still goes back to education as well. It's educating on what the conservation district can do and what our responsibilities are, and also educate the landowner or a complainant of this is how it's gotten to this stage. This is the corrective actions the conservation district is doing, because we do have a possible corrective action that, again, we're voluntary. We do go by the 3 strikes you're out. At that point, we do have procedures in place that we will then request enforcement from the department. And the department then will come in and do an evaluation to say, is this an enforceable action or is this not? Because, again, they are the ones that generated the policy.
Can you give me an example? I'm a bum property owner, and I've got garbage all over my place. Mm-hmm. Is that when you would come by and politely say 3 different times maybe?
So, I mean, in that case, we're not delegated to necessarily regulate garbage. But if you're doing earthwork and your earthwork is over 1 acre, and let's say you don't have an NPDES permit, so you're not permitted to do that earthwork.
I just showed up with the bulldozer one day and off I go.
And off you went.
Right.
I mean, we will work with that landowner to say, hey, you need to get these permits in place. Until then, we would ask them to cease earthwork and temporarily stabilize the site with mulch, seed, erosion control blankets, and have them work with our office to get the required permit in place. And that permit has checks and balances in it to say, okay, you're going to move that earth in a responsible way. You're going to secure that any of that loose earth is not going to generate sediments into the waters of the Commonwealth. You're not going to disturb wetlands, those kind of things. And that's where the permitting comes into it. That's one example. Let's say for some reason that gentleman didn't want to take us seriously and we went back out and he's still doing earthwork. And again, he's doing earthwork again. At that point, we would request enforcement from the department. The department then has multiple actions where they can even issue a notice of violation or what's called an order and basically force the person to stop earthwork and get into a permit situation.
Are people usually pretty compliant when you ask nice?
Yes, I will say, unfortunately, we have had to take some cases to the department for enforcement action. In general, though, most people understand, but it goes back to your earlier question. They didn't even understand that there was a conservation district. They didn't understand that there was these kind of laws. And to Mike's point, that's where we need to, and that's why we're here today even, to try to figure out how can we get more property owners to understand this. Because we want to work with all property owners. We just want to make sure everybody understands it, because it's easier to address a possible problem ahead of time than after it has started.
Then didn't have to chase it.
Right, exactly.
What is a typical complaint, Mike? Is there a typical complaint? Something that it's the first you're hearing of it, but somebody's wound up.
A typical complaint is a lot of water coming from a construction site, or there's a lot of siltation into another landowner's property.
Washing out, yeah.
Yes, washouts. And those are most of our typical complaints. Every once in a while we'll get one of siltation going into a stream, or a property owner digging in the middle of a stream. But those aren't as common, I'll say, as the washouts and the siltation and runoff from construction sites.
One of the first things I got told when I moved here, I fish. Is it true that it can be private property and it can be an enclosed pond in your yard on your property, but the Commonwealth still owns and is in charge of the water?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I had never seen, I thought the people were messing with me.
No, typically surface waters are regulated under waters of the Commonwealth.
Right. Jeff Flug and Mike Price and Hannah Ward have been my guests with the Beaver County Conservation District. Is there anything I should have asked you that I didn't bring up? I want to make sure, I want people to understand and know about this organization.
I guess one thing, and I don't know how much time we actually have, but I would like to just reiterate education, and Hannah and I will share part of this discussion. going back to the fact that we do need more people to understand what the conservation district's here for, and it's not actually to do enforcement or regulation. It's more, our mission is to provide outreach and education and technical assistance to support our natural resources. And with that, we already know that we're going to Big Knob Fair. We'll probably go to Hookstown Fair with our mobile education center. And with that, I'll say that too, is we do have I forget exactly the size trailer, but we've made a mobile education center where we can take anywhere. So if there's anybody out there that is having a community fair or a school that would like to have a small environmental education class or something at their site, we'd be more than willing to take that. Actually, the MEC, I believe, was at New Brighton on Friday. We've trucked a lot of miles on it. We actually started it because of COVID, and at 1 year, last year we had to minimize it because we were also doing what was called PA Master Naturalist at the same time. But the year before that, I believe we've had over 3,000 people go through the Mobile Education Center. So again, it's just another tool that, hey, I don't want to drive down to Independence Township. As lovely as Independence Township is, you're at your very southern part of Beaver County.
Right.
People from northern part don't want to drive the hour to get there. We can bring it to you, is what I want to stress there.
Hannah, give the website out one more time so people can find out everything, because all we talked about is on the website. What is it?
BeaverCountyConservationDistrict.org.
I want to say thank you, Jeff, Mike, Hannah. Anytime you want to talk about Mother Earth, come in, we will talk about Mother Earth. And Mike, I'm just like you. Those plastic bags hanging in trees when I'm fishing, I lose my mind. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your home for everything in Beaver County. 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, coming to you live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
If being well educated is important to you, then you need to get to Friendly Federal Credit Union now. This is Cindy Hilario. Besides helping to educate you and your family about managing money, we also help educate the future generations of Beaver County.
It's true. Right now, applications for the annual Carl D. Ross and Anthony S. Payne Memorial Scholarships are now available. 2 $1,000 scholarships are awarded every year to help fund education for our local members. This is Karen Latchaw. Click friendlyfcu.org or visit Friendly Federal Credit Union for more information or to apply.
Learn more, get it, about what your credit union can do for you. Visit the place that makes more sense for you. Friendly Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, equal housing lender.
Friendly Federal Credit Union, you got a friend.
Stop by your local McDonald's today and pick up everyone's favorites, the Shamrock Shake and Oreo Shamrock McFlurry, now available through March 24th. Don't miss out on these fan favorites. Shamrock Shake and Oreo Shamrock McFlurry, now at McDonald's. I'm loving it.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
Join Mike Romai for Live Mike each Monday through Friday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. Sponsored by the Beaver County Transit Authority. The Beaver County Transit Authority is reimagining and redefining how we connect in Beaver County. That's Live Mike with Mike Romai, weekdays from 6:30 to 9 a.m. on 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
I found the perfect place for mom, the Village at St. Barnabas. Luxury condo-style living with activities, restaurants, a hair salon, and she can bring her dog Lucky.
Discover the Village at St. Barnabas. Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com for a tour.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.